we will discuss the applied anatomy of the thyroid gland. So before discussing the diseases related to thyroid gland, we must know the functions and control over the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland, it secretes the hormones diiodothyronine and thyroxine hormones, and iodide uptake is a critical step in the synthesis of the thyroid hormones. Thyroid gland is under the control of thyroid stimulating hormone by anterior pituitary, and which is again controlled by the hypothalamus by thyrotropin releasing hormones. And this control by the hypothalamus to the thyroid gland is an example of negative feedback. Negative feedback means if the concentration of the thyroid hormones they increases above a normal level, the hypothalamus will be inhibited and there will be decreased secretions of the releasing and stimulating hormones, resulting in inhibition of the thyroid gland to stop the secretions of T3 and T4. But if the thyroid secretions they fall below a normal level, this negative feedback will be relieved. Now the hypothalamus will be stimulated to secrete more releasing hormones and more stimulating hormones, and so that will cause the stimulation of thyroid gland. So that is an example of negative feedback. Now, thyroid gland, it regulates our basal metabolic rate by controlling the metabolism of carbohydrate, lipids, and protein. It also regulates the growth by regulating the synthesis of growth hormone. It also increases the sensitivity of cardiovascular system for catecholamines. Cardio Thyroid hormones, they have an effect over the growth and development of central nervous system in fetal and early postnatal life. So these functions of the thyroid hormones, they suggest that in any disease of the thyroid gland, all the systems of the body, they may be affected. So one of the most common disease in which thyroid gland is involved is the goiter. The word goiter means any enlargement of the thyroid gland which may be due to any cause. The most commonest variety of the goiter is the simple goiter or non-toxic euthyroid goiter. By the word simple goiter, we means there will be an enlargement of the thyroid gland which can be seen in this picture, but thyroid hormones, they will be maybe in normal concentration or there may be a hyposecretion. The most common cause of the simple goiter is by the dietary deficiency of the iodine, or it can be due to some goitrogens in the diet such as cabbage, and it can be also a physiological cause in during at the time of puberty when there is increased demand for the thyroid hormones, or at the time of pregnancy in increased stress. So in this, why this simple goiter develops? Because we can see in this second diagram, whenever there is low iodine in the diet, there will be lesser production of thyroid hormones, and now this lesser production of hormones will relieve the negative feedback from the hypothalamus, which will be now stimulated to release more releasing hormones, and pituitary will be now secrete more stimulating hormones which will keep on stimulating the thyroid follicles to secrete more and more thyroid hormones, resulting in hyperplasia and enlargement of the thyroid glands. And this type of goiter, simple goiter, is usually asymptomatic. The patient will not have any symptoms. But if it becomes very large, it may cause pressure symptom, resulting in, if it cause pressure on trachea, dyspnea, and pressure on esophagus will cause difficulty in swallowing, dysphagia. If there is a compression of recurrent laryngeal nerve, dysphonia will result. So this is the simple goiter resulting from deficiency of iodine. Another variety of goiter can be a toxic goiter when there are increased synthesis of hormones, hyperthyroidism, also known as the Graves' disease. Enlargement of thyroid gland can be neoplastic, that is due to tumor, which can be benign or malignant. Papillary carcinoma is the most commonest variety of malignant tumors in the thyroid gland. Next, we will study the effect of hypo or hypersecretion of the thyroid gland. Hypothyroidism, it results from the decreased circulating levels of thyroid hormones. The most commonest cause we have already studied is can be iodine deficiency, or it can be due to surgical removal of the thyroid gland. This type of hypothyroidism, if it develops in children, it is known as the cretinism. And the thyroid hormones, since they affect the skeletal development, so the child will be having short stature or dwarfism and stunted growth. And if hypothyroidism it develops during the fetal life, it may cause impairment of the central nervous system development, leading on to mental retardation. But if hypothyroidism develops during adult life, it is known as mixed edema, and patient will present with the features of fatigue or tiredness and weight gain, and there will be a sensitivity to the cold. And if we examine the patient, there will be a bradycardia, because now the cardiovascular system is having decreased sensitivity to catecholamines. So these are some of the features of hypothyroidism. Now, if a patient has hyperthyroidism, that is the increased levels of thyroid hormones, a Graves' disease or exophthalmic goiter can develop. These patients of hyperthyroidism, they will have the features, they will be intolerance to the heat, patient will have bulging eyes, and there will be a loss of weight. This condition can develop due to the thyroid stimulating antibodies or autoantibodies, which act like thyroid stimulating hormone and stimulate the thyroid gland to secrete more and more thyroid hormones. So these are the symptoms of hypo and hyperthyroidism in the patients of thyroid gland anomalies. Now, thyroid, sometimes in some of these conditions, we may have to do surgeries on the thyroid gland, that is the thyroidectomy. And while doing thyroidectomy, we must observe certain precautions which we have already discussed. The first is the just a revision, that is the remove the gland along with its true capsule to avoid damage to the venous plexus. And regarding the arterial supply, we should always ligate the superior thyroid artery near the gland to avoid injury to the external laryngeal nerve, which is closely related near the origin of the artery. If damaged, it can result in paralysis of cricothyroid muscle. Inferior thyroid artery should be ligated away from the gland to avoid damage to recurrent laryngeal nerve, which can result in paralysis of the muscles of the larynx. Now, thyroidectomy, it can be a total thyroidectomy when we have to do complete removal of the gland, but a total thyroidectomy can also cause removal of the parathyroid gland, resulting in tetany, and post-operative mixed edema or hypothyroidism can be a complication. So we prefer to do subtotal thyroidectomy or partial thyroidectomy and preserve the parathyroid glands and some thyroid tissues. Now, in addition to these diseases, the thyroid gland can be also involved in certain congenital anomalies. These anomalies can be in the shape of the gland, position of the gland. There can be ectopic thyroid tissue, or some thyroglossal duct remnants may persist in the form of cyst or fistula. So before studying these anomalies, we will study the development of the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is the first endocrine gland to develop in the body. It will develop at the junction of anterior two-third and the posterior one-third of the tongue. At this junction, an epithelial proliferation will develop, and this area will soon depress below the surface. And this junction will be now named as the foramen cecum. Now, in the second diagram, we can see the site of foramen cecum. Now, this proliferation will start dipping downward as an endodermal diverticulum, and this is named as the thyroglossal duct. The thyroglossal terminal end of this duct will become bilobed, which will develop into two lobes of the thyroid gland. This thyroglossal duct will keep on descending downwards. It will reach in front of hyoid bone, then thyroid cartilage, and it will reach its final position. The terminal end has developed into thyroid gland, but rest of the duct from foramen cecum up to gland will disappear. But if the thyroglossal duct it persists, it can result in formation of soft swellings in the neck, which can be seen in this picture. And this is a picture of thyroglossal cyst developing from remnant of thyroglossal duct. If this cyst opens to the exterior, it can result in formation of thyroglossal fistula. The site of the cyst and can be at anywhere near foramen cecum, near hyoid bone, near the thyroid cartilage. Another anomaly in the thyroid gland can be in its position. If the thyroglossal duct it fails to descend, the thyroid gland may develop over the tongue lingual thyroid inside the tongue as intralingual thyroid, or any defect in descent can lead on to suprahyoid or infrahyoid thyroid. So these are anomalies in the position of the thyroid gland. Sometimes shape of the thyroid gland can be defective, that is isthmus may be absent or any of the lobe may be absent. And the sometime in addition to the two lateral lobes, another third lobe, that is pyramidal lobe, may be present. This pyramidal lobe is the remnant of terminal end of the thyroglossal duct, which may be attached to any of the lobe or isthmus of the gland. So these are some of the congenital anomalies associated with the thyroid gland, which is developing at the junction of anterior two-third and posterior one-third of the tongue as an endodermal diverticulum thyroglossal duct, from where it descends downwards. So that was about the gross anatomy and applied anatomy of the thyroid gland. Just to summarize, thyroid gland is located on the sides and in front of the trachea. It is having two lateral lobes joined by an isthmus. The apex of the lateral lobes will reach up to thyroid cartilage and base up to fifth tracheal ring. Each lobe will have three surfaces: lateral, medial, and posterolateral surface. The blood supply of the thyroid gland is by superior thyroid artery and inferior thyroid artery, and their relation to the nerves must be remembered. Superior thyroid artery is related to the nerve near its origin, so always ligate it near the gland, while recurrent laryngeal nerve is related to inferior thyroid artery near the base, so always ligate it away from the gland. So that is all about the thyroid gland. Thank you.